we have who are here from Cass City and Bay City up here, and just to share a moment, and then we'll bring up the group from our church to let them share. So if you're from Cass City or Bay City, why don't you come on up? Yeah, that'll be good.
Name, grade,
Sure.
year going.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, and just yep. So. I think so.
Do we have to say what grade we're in, what school?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Dave Spencer from Bay City New Life, and it's was my second year going, so I'm a sophomore. I'll be a junior next year. Just a good time, a powerful time, spiritual time, and I know it's a fun time, but it's all. I actually get a view from my limited background of the Church of Jesus Christ. I'm overwhelmed when I get there, and I'm going to talk about a spiritual moment. We had a small job. Allie and Jade and Alex and Noah, two of them aren't here this morning, but to be with, by the way, there was 3 missionary churches there, I believe 2 Lutheran churches. We're ministering through a Methodist camp, and an old Catholic boy goes. So it's just really neat to see the Church of Jesus Christ. It's not about, we get so centered. It's not about me. It's not about the service project. And to have these young people at our house the first day, we're supposed to engage the person. We're supposed to pray with them. We're supposed to ask them to pray with them, get to know them, get to talk to them, have lunch, invite them. The first day, our crew leader showed up, and he left within 5 minutes. She opened her door up about this far and stuck her head out and talked to us and closed the door. And I'm like, okay, here we go. But to watch Jade and Allie, very impressed, and Alex and Noah work and talk to her through the week. By the end of the week, you saw us. Matter of fact, she wanted to hug the girls before they left. She's just lost her husband recently, I believe, and depressed. We hardly ever saw her get off the couch. But the girls were in singing to her. We didn't have pictures of that. I saw that. I got to go in and see them and just walk away and let the kids minister to her. Just so to have a spiritual moment, it would be the whole week. It was just phenomenal experience to be a part of something like that, much bigger than me. And not about the construction job. As I went last year, it's so easy to focus on that. That's my specialty, my gift. But it's not about that. It's not about the construction project. Fun moment. You saw the ladies gluing the linoleum down, showing up the boys. And so the 2 guys came in and said, hey, what can we do? What can we do? Because I said, hey, I got something for you to do. I had the linoleum all rolled up while the girls were gluing. I said, hey, could you pick that up? We got to get it out of the way. So Alex and Noah, they picked it up. Where do you want it? I said, hey, put it out in the van because we don't want it to get wet, but just we need it out there. So they picked this 12-foot roll of linoleum up. They walked outside and they put it in the van. Nice and easy. I said, don't damage it, And they come all the way back in and they said, okay, now what can we do? I said, hey, go get the linoleum. We need it right now. They're like, what? I said, yeah, I just gave you something to do while the girls were doing all the work.
I'm Jim Tuckey from the Cass City Church. This is my first year down here, and I was glad Dave went along because the kids were pestering him. They left the rest of us old people alone. So it was good to have Dave with us. Another thing that I was so appreciative of is the teams that we went with. It was great to see the enthusiasm, the way they worked with the people, and it was just a great time. Spiritual moment was the fact that when you kind of get away from home, you don't have those things in your mind. You're saying you should do this, you should do that. There's time to be doing this, But when you're away from home and you're down there and you can just focus on your quiet time, the times that we had in the morning with the older bunch of people was we got down and we sat for the kid, or we sat down and prayed for the kids, and it was a good time. So probably the most fun time was watching the dog play basketball. He was scooting it along with we didn't get enough pictures of him, but he had the ball between his 2 front paws and had his chin on the ball, and he was scooting this ball around, is pushing it with his rear end. And the other fun part was is singing with the girls on talent night. I don't know what it is about girls. They get me in more trouble than anybody else. But they got us boys up there singing with them. You can't get to heaven in roller skates. Yeah, well, here, we're going to pass it.
I'm Sam Gaffney. I'm a senior at John Glenn. This was my 5th year going to Redbird. And my spiritual moment was really the week because we've gone with other churches before, but I've never felt so close to everyone in the group. It's always been groups of people, but this year it was like one big group, even though we didn't know each other that well. We got along really well and we became friends like by the first day. Everyone did. My funny moment was when we went on the tour of the school on Wednesday. The tour guide started talking, and Pastor Brian actually probably outnumbers her in years going there. So we started asking him questions about it rather than the tour guide.
My name's Noah Gaffney. I'm a sophomore at John Glenn. This is my 4th year going. My fun moment at the work site that Dave was at, we had a crew leader, and his name was Cody, and he was one of the funniest guys that I've met. He always called us little jerks. But on Friday, we knew that we were going to wrap up early, so we talked to him about going to lunch. And we drove about maybe a half hour to this place. It was called Randall's. And we walked in, and there was like these shelves over here with random canned foods. Over here, there was this grill where we got lunch. And then in the back, there was this like casino area. And it was like, you would only see this in Kentucky. So that was funny. But my spiritual moment really was on Thursday night. There was a time of sharing, and it was just the Holy Spirit was moving. And I had to share devotional, which was a big deal for me because everybody's crying, and I'm like, oh, geez. But really what I shared about was that God desires for us to step out of our comfort zones, and taking that and doing that means that we have to become unselfish. And that was one thing that the whole week that God was just pestering me with. I know there was times where I failed at that. Like one time Dave gave me a job to do, and these thoughts like, oh, geez, I don't want to do this job. This seems pointless and things like that. And then God just said, this isn't about you, Noah. And I'll tell you, that's something that it's an everyday struggle for me, is waking up and saying, God, what do you desire for me to do, not what I do? And I know I failed at that more times than I've got it right, but that's something he continues to pester me with, so thank you.
My name is Gabe Jones. I'm a senior. This was my 5th trip going. My spiritual moment was I gave a devotional as well, and so did Sam. Mine was Wednesday night, and I did it on Mark chapter 1, verses 32 through 39. Initially, I wanted to do it on just 35, but in order for me to illustrate what I was trying to talk about, and I didn't even know what I was talking about, I threw a verse in, I'm like, okay, it fits. Pastor Brian's like, you should probably read a little bit before and a little bit after. And the title for the devotionals that week was Our Story, and you heard the opening song for the presentation. Well, as I was reading through that passage and kind of struggling with it, trying to like, okay, what the heck am I going to say that will make sense? Instead of just lecturing, I actually have to kind of teach. For our story to be in line with what God wants for his story, and we have to be in prayer and meditation and study his word, because you get through that, you get the realization of, okay, this is what he wants for my life, and that kind of aligns with what he wants. So that was my spiritual moment. My fun moment, well, I don't know if you want to call it a fun moment, but so on Friday we were working, as you saw, we were building a railing. Well, on the other side there's the same thing, and you're kind of, I was on the other side of the railing looking down at snails that were kind of stuck to the bricks. Well, Sam come behind me, and he gently grabbed the back of my shirt, and it scared me so much I almost fell in. And I came back around, I had a stick in my hand, I hit him with a stick, and I just threw it. I'm like, why did you do that? And he's just dying life. He's like, that's the face of terror right there. I'm like, all right. So that was my fun moment.
I'm Sarah Steely. I'm from Cass City Missionary Church, and this was my 2nd year at Redbird. And I think one of the cool things for me about my 2nd year was last year and this year the same. Pastor Brian really told us to focus on not just, the work we were doing on the houses and what we were doing, in this world, but about just listening to God and, actually like getting to know the people you're working on their houses, talking with them and praying with them, and that there was a lot more going on than just paint, because that's what we did. We painted. And so last year, I kind of understood what he meant, but I don't know if I entirely got it. I was really into what we were doing. But this year, I think God kind of gave me a second chance, because the house that we worked on, J.B. Smith, his mom was the woman that we worked on her house last year. And she was there at his house pretty much every day we were there. And so this year, I just got to, me, Marissa, and Abby, we really just talked with her and got to know her. And did we talk about anything important? Probably not. We laughed a lot and just did girl talk and stuff. But at the end of the week, she, I think she really was going to miss us. Like, she gave us at least 3 hugs each. And she seemed to, like, really care about, our relationship we have with her. And so I thought that was so very special. And it's really important to me. April Fool's Day, that'd be Friday the 1st, was our last job. And that kind of has nothing to do with it, but it kind of did at the same time, because we had this job we had to do, and we had to stay in the support system actually on our own cabin. So, I mean, I guess we were the right people for the job, but it was kind of hard, and we were kind of tired. I think God was kind of testing us to see, like, we're tired now. Are we still going to do it? Are we still going to have a good attitude about it? And we were told 3 coats. The can only said 1, so we were kind of like, oh, we're doing 3 coats. We really shouldn't have to. So we get the 3rd one done. I mean, we put everything into that last coat to get it done, because we just wanted to go to lunch and be done with this job. So we go to lunch, and Justin comes up to us and says, Cody says, I think it was Cody, not our Cody, but he says 3 more coats, and we're just sitting there like with our mouths open. And yeah, we didn't believe him at first. We thought, this is April Fool's Day. They're really joking with us, and it's not nice. So actually, we went and talked to the guy. We're like, so 3 more coats? And he's like, oh, I guess 2 will be okay. So I think that was really funny in the aftermath. But yeah, so it was really cool.
Well, thank you. And again, it was such a privilege to be able to partner together and do that. So if we can have the people from New Life now, and we'll let you guys sit down. Son's Life, yeah. I'll get this right soon. I already had this New Life people. Okay. Mostly they used all your time, so. Cody's ready? Are you going to start? Yeah, we're missing one young lady who went with us, Jay Jacoby. She's getting confirmed today at her church, so we're glad and we celebrate that in her walk. But we miss her today. But we'll let all these folks share and go from there. So.
I'm Allie Kemp. I'm in 8th grade. And one of the more funny moments when I was there was Our Lady Loretta. She really didn't talk much on the first day, but when she did, she came out and, Jade and I were working, the girls were working, the boys were slacking off. I mean, like usual. And she came out and she's like, seems that the girls are working harder than the boys. And I mean, she just made it so clear to the boys that we were working harder to them too. So, I mean, but that's how it is in life, right? So that was, I just thought that was funny. And then one of my more spiritual moments there was that the days that we kind of got to know her, she was kind of shy at first. She's very kind of depressed because of her husband passing away. So we went in and we asked her if we could, Jade asked her if she could pray with her. So we prayed with her, and then we were kind of singing songs and entertaining, the guys as we were coming in on the bus and, entertaining. And so we started singing to her because she liked it. And so then she couldn't think of a song. So the next day we told her just think on it, and the next day we'll come back and sing it for her. And the song that she thought of was Here Comes Goodbye by Rascal Flatts. And so we sang a little bit of that to her because we didn't know the whole song. but you could feel God's presence like touching her heart as we sang to her, and just it kind of changed the atmosphere around you. And so that was kind of one of my more spiritual moments at Redbird.
Hi, I'm Cody. I'm an 8th grader, and I just want to start off with a spiritual moment that I had, and how, like, the spiritual moment wasn't really. It's like the whole week, basically, how Pastor Brian and Justin were telling us to get to be. I mean, you pray in your groups, but prayer in groups is a lot easier than going out and praying by yourself and really being a powerful speaker to God and just listening to what he says and talking to him like a full-on conversation. And you guys, you don't really have to pray like hit in a set time. You can pray whenever you want. And that was a hard struggle for me. And a funny moment was when I was working at our homeowner's house. We were working, and he wanted to take some of the scrap wood, and he was going to bring it to his burn pile up a little bit up the mountain a little bit. And he had his four-wheeler out, and so I was walking up, and he drove his four-wheeler around. I was walking up the other way, and he has these huge pigs. I mean, they look like horses. I mean, and I was looking, there's like a bunch of little ones, and I keep on walking. All of a sudden, this big, huge pig sticks his head out of the thing, and I'm like, holy crap! And like, I thought it was gonna jump out and start chasing me, and so I started running towards the four-wheeler.
I'm Cruz Fernandez. I'm a freshman, and this is my second year going. My spiritual moment was how Noah said Thursday night is we all just shared what we felt that week and how we felt. And how God, you could feel God in the room just like touching everybody's heart to even share. Like some people were shy to share, but he really touched her heart and he gave him a voice to say something. And then my funny moment was when I dunked on Dave, because we had to do, it was a talent night, and we decided to put together a skit, and he was the Grandpa League MVP, and Brian was the former MVP, so there's a lot of tension.
Us old guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension in the room, so. Yeah, that was one of my funny moments, and I just like how we all got along. Like, I never even knew any of them. I know Sam, I created like a really close bond with Sam. We became really good friends after that, so that's what I like about Redbird.
Hi, I'm Amy Wiederhold, and yeah, what grade am I? I'm a freshman according to Redbird. I went kind of last minute because I didn't know if for a girl chaperone it was just kind of a God thing. I had seen Justin, and I said, hey, there's been some parents asking, is there any female chaperones going? I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Let me check into that. Well, it just happened to be, it worked out, and I was able to go, and very blessed I was able to go, and I'm going to do this trying not to cry, but it's going to happen anyways. But you guys have raised a lot of amazing kids. These kids, telling you what, you could feel the power of prayer down there. There was a time when I could have, this was way out of my comfort zone. This right now is out of my comfort zone. Being down there was out of my comfort zone. Everything was. It was exactly what Brian said. And one of the major comfort out of my comfort zone is praying to people, because I don't feel worthy of my faith. And so for me to pray for somebody else is really hard and difficult for me. And the first day we were at our job site, and I had to go to the bathroom, being a typical girl or whatever, so I had to go and I asked the homeowner if I could go to the bathroom, and I did. And he allowed me, whatever, and came out and he showed me all these pictures on his wall of his family and everything, and I thought that was pretty cool. He was a pretty proud family guy, and then he talked to me about his one grandson, and his grandson suffered from some seizures and different things, and he just wanted to talk and talk and talk, and so we did and everything, and instead of just saying, can I pray for you, I didn't. So I went later that day because I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. And so that evening we talked about it during devotions or whatever, and I told Brian, I said, I think I missed my chance. And they all said, no, you didn't miss your chance. And so a part of us adults is always we would group together and pray for the kids, and then the kids would always group together and pray for some of the adults. Well, it happened to be, apparently I was a hot person that they wanted to pray for, whatever. Well, I know Alex said he prayed for me that night. And so the next day, he told me, he's like, I prayed for you last night. And I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm glad, And the next day, we went back to the job site, and Sandy and Tony were in there, and they were talking to the gentleman about his water quality or whatever. And so, anyways, they'd asked him before they left, is there anything that you want us to pray for or whatever? And nope, he was good, whatever. And so Sandy's like, because I had said, man, I really probably should go pray with this guy because I feel like I missed my opportunity. And Sandy's like, yeah, I don't know if he's going to want you to pray for him. And I said, okay. And so I just let it go. And we were getting ready for lunch and getting everything set up. Well, he happened to come out, and he was on his four-wheeler and stuff. And he had this buddy seat on his four-wheeler. And I asked him what it was. He's like, a buddy what? And I said, a buddy seat. And he said that it was for his he's like, that grandson I was telling you about that suffers from seizures. He said, we had to get this seat and put it on there for him. And so he could set up. I said, all right. And so then I'm like, Cody was standing there, and I'm like, okay, God, you've opened the door. Here's my opportunity. I'm going to just go for it. I went over and I asked him if I could pray for him and his grandson, his family. And he said, yeah, you could. And so I did. It was not adequate in my words or whatever, but it was just amazing that God opened that door and the prayers were answered. And I got out of my comfort zone of doing that. And I don't know, it just was amazing to see that. So, a funny moment. My funny moment, the kid in the back. Just being with teenagers all week is a funny moment, I think. I don't have one in particular. They're all goofy, so.
Okay, my name's Marissa Linsner. I'm a senior. Brian made that clear. I'd say a funny moment was one of the days, I think it was the first day we were out on the work job, us girls finished our paint job early, all we could do that day, and so we decided to make ourselves Indians. And we had thought of Indian names, and we were dancing around the boys while they were working. That was a lot of fun. But I think spiritual, like everyone says, I mean, it was like we really are like family. We were so close, and we did so many just weird things together. But I think one of the most spiritual moments was every night we got together. Each cabin would get together and we prayed. We picked topics and then we prayed for whatever else. And like just coming together and doing that, it was really, really, really cool. And I think there's a lot of spiritual moments, but that was one that stuck out a lot.
I'm Abigail Cole, and I'm an 11th grader. And this was my first time at Redbird. It was a really big deal for me to go this year because I've never been on a mission trip that's been like overnight. And I've also never been that far out of Michigan. So that was a big deal. But one of my funny moments was, hopefully Cody's okay with this. Cody, we went on tour day, and Cody had this brilliant idea. Instead of going over the bridge, over the river that was there, we would go over the log. And so Cody went over it, and he's like, oh, it's easy. And then a bunch of other guys went over it, and Jade and Allie went over it. I'm like, okay, I can go over it. I get halfway there, and I'm stuck. So I do eventually get over it, but then we're eating lunch, and I notice that my leg is cold. And I look, and I had ripped my pants. So that was kind of my funny moment. I'm like, oh. And my spiritual moment is Thursday was talent night, and I had already gone up. I don't like talking in front of people, especially when I don't have something prepared. But I went up a couple times. We did singing, and then we're sitting there, and I hear this voice, and my hands start getting sweaty, and my heart starts pounding, and I hear this, you need to go up there. You need to go up there and sing Amazing Grace and play the piano. You need to do this. I'm like, God, I can't. I haven't practiced in how many weeks. I don't have anything prepared. I've never used that piano. I can't do this. He goes, yes, you can. I will make sure that you're okay. So I slowly raise my hand, hoping he doesn't notice, and the guy notices. So I go up there, and I sit at the keyboard, and my mind goes blank. I'm like, what do I do? So I remember the first couple chords. So I start playing the first couple chords and I start singing, and then everything goes blank again. And then everybody in the room started singing. And they were helping me. And then as we kept singing, there was a couple different people that had played guitar that night for their talent. And they started playing Amazing Grace on their guitars. And it was just amazing to see how I trusted God, and he came through and everybody came together to help and prove to me that that I can trust God.
Hi, I'm Toby Cole. I'm a sophomore. My second time going down. The fun time was basically on April Fool's when we were finishing up the deck. Dave or someone basically told me that we built the deck at the wrong house, so we had to tear it all down and put the original deck back. But I told him that wasn't going to happen because we already smashed up the old one, so we just left it how it was. But the spiritual week was Wednesday and Thursday morning, because basically we were out all day on the bus, walking around, walked half mile of the chain rock and back, and all the other stuff with good food that Brian found. And once we got back to the cabins, everybody was already tired and no one wanted to get up on Thursday morning, but basically we got up and we were ready to go again and work for the house.
I'm Morgan Lensner, and I'm in 10th grade, and my spiritual moment was on Thursday I shared, and I usually clam up and not cry. But I had to share because I couldn't hold it in anymore. I never knew so many people loved me. My funny moment was that dog played volleyball with us still. Every time we hit the volleyball, the dog would go get it.
Hi, I'm Sandy Shalom, and I guess it was my first year, so I'd be a freshman senior. I think I qualify. This is going to be tough to follow. I think spiritual moment has to be that just the fact that the kids that went truly are amazing. And the testimonies that came back were incredible, to the fact that you come to church and you leave on Sunday and you go out and you do your week's work and you come back to church on Sunday and you leave and you go out and you do your work. It was really incredibly refreshing to come together every night and hear stories of God has worked. And I think coming back, it's been easy for me to go, at the end of the day, go, you know what, I did see God today. I saw him today, and I saw him this morning, and I saw him. And it isn't just at Redbird, but it's everywhere. And these kids are coming back now with stories to take to their friends, and it's fantastic. It is. That was the best part for me. The funny moment was Amy and I were in the cabin with all the girls, and they're girls, and they can't be quiet. And finally, about 11:30 one night, I was really tired, and I think I might have yelled, "Shut up and go to sleep." And the only word I heard after that was, "Ooh, I think she's serious." And so the next night, Amy and I got to giggling because we're girls, and we couldn't stop. And at some point in time, somebody from on the other side said, "Are you guys ever going to shut up?" And that didn't help, but but that was it was a very good trip, very, very good.
I'm Justin. This is my 9th trip down to Redbird. Still pales in comparison to the Grandmaster over here who's been down 25 times to Redbird. But it's the same this year as it has been every year that you go down. And actually when we shared, we've obviously shared that we're 3 different churches that have come together. And so we went and we've shared at all 3 of the churches of the work that we've done and things like that. And Sarah, when we shared at Cass City, Sarah actually said it really well, that we can tell you all the fun stories about what we do at Redbird, and we can tell you about all the spiritual moments and things that happen at Redbird. But it really doesn't sum up what it's really like to be at Redbird. And I think a lot of that is just because when you're there, it is so much easier to just experience God when you're there. I mean, you're in the beauty of His creation. You're in the hills. There are no distractions. You have limited distractions, even in the sense that the cell phones don't work there. You are literally in a gully, and you're surrounded by mountains, and your cell phones don't work. No, it was beautiful, it really was. And you don't realize how connected you get to things and people and stuff like that. And to be able to have a purpose and a mission of serving God, and to be able to do it with limited distractions, it is such a blessing. And to go down with kids and youth and adults, I mean, it's just wonderful to experience God in that way. And one of the things that we've been praying all week, praying that, it not be about us, it not be about it not be about the leaders, it not be about the individuals, but that it just be about God, and that His glory would really come through. And one of the days, one of the leaders who we had with us, who he's older than me, and so I say he was old, but I got in trouble saying that because I don't really know how old Fred is. I mean, young 50s, upper 40s. I'm looking at Jim for a reference. Jim doesn't know either, or he won't tell me. So, but he's older than me, so I say that he was older. But he was out playing volleyball, and he was playing volleyball in his work boots, which he probably shouldn't have been doing. And he ended up pulling a muscle, and like really bad, and like couldn't walk. Like they had to carry him off of the volleyball courts. Like it was bad. And that night, and we all felt sorry for him because where the guys were staying, we were like at the top of like 5 sets of stairs where you had to walk up, and I mean it was bad. So we felt bad for Fred because that just wasn't a good situation to be in. But that night we prayed for Fred, and we just prayed that God would heal his leg. And my prayer specifically that night was that God would show up, His Holy Spirit would move, so that the people that were on the trip, especially the youth that were on the trip, could see that God is a God that still shows up, and He still cares for the people, His people, that seek after Him. And Fred didn't get up and like jump up from the table and start dancing around the table or anything like that. But the next day, Fred went on like a 2-mile hike with us to Chained Rock, and then the day after that, Fred was back on the work site, and then by Friday, Fred climbed a mountain. And so, I mean, I've pulled muscles before, and you don't heal from pulled muscles in 3 days. And so it was just miraculous to see that experience of God moving and how God still shows up. And what's unique, what's not unique, I guess, about Redbird is that you see that happening every single time you go down there. You're able to experience God in that way every time you're down there, and it's not a new thing just for this year. And so it just I just want to say on behalf of the church and this group and all the groups, just thank you for providing an experience for these people, especially the first timers, from people from the other church, just providing that experience and an opportunity for them to go down and experience that, so that they can taste and see that the Lord is good, and that they can come back and just spread that and share that here in their home church. So thank you.
Just real quick, just to wrap this up. No, you guys can stay here. You can stay here. One of the things I always do during the course of that week is spend one-on-one time with each one of the students. Just kind of, okay, what did God speak to you this week? What are some things? And I always really enjoy that. But since Jade's not here, we can pick on her. But one of the things when I sat down with her, and she shared this, so I know it's okay to share. She talked about she's gone to Bayshore and she's done those things, and she said, I've said the prayers. She says, but this week Jesus became real to me. And like Sandy said, coming back, Jesus is always real. He's always there, and he's always present. It's just sometimes we get so busy in life we miss it. And one of the good things about there is, like I said, cell phones don't work. And we were listening to some teaching by Dan Spader not too long ago, and he was talking about every significant spiritual moment. Well, he didn't say everyone. He said many of the significant spiritual moments in the Bible happen on a mountain. And that's, that just really hit me when I heard it after we came back, and because obviously we're sitting there. But again, I just appreciate your support, because this doesn't happen without your support. And it's a ministry we hope to continue to grow and do. Like I said, it was my 25th trip there. I'm glad they didn't put candles on the cake, because it would have been really bad. But yeah, it's always a privilege, and just to see the young people and see them grow. And thank you again. We're just going to pray and be out of here now, because I know we ran a little long. Thank you for your patience too. So let's go before the Lord and pray. Lord, thank you. You are so good. And we come before you this morning celebrating your goodness. Father, thank you for the work that was accomplished that week, for relationships that were built. Father, for hearts that were healed. And Lord, as we come back and we're here, help us to see you clearly in those little things. Help us to be a little bit more ready to serve people and to be aware of their needs. Father, I pray for each member of this team that they would take the things they learned and that they would continue to look for ways for their story to intersect with yours and to be exactly the story you want for them, Lord. And I pray that for each of us as a church, Lord. There are so many needs within walking distance of this church that, God, you're calling us to help meet. Give us wisdom to know how to do that. Guide and direct our steps, that we would be faithful to the things you've asked us to do. We seek these things when we ask these names in the name of our risen Savior, Jesus. Amen and amen. If you guys want to go over that way, you can greet some of these people.